Thank you for that question. I think this is a critically important topic. The U.S. and China are the world's two largest economies and two largest trading nations. We have a $19 trillion economy, a $12 trillion economy that each trades about $4 trillion worth of goods and services with the rest of the world, and about 640 billion with each other. And within that 640 billion, we have half of that under tariff right now. And given that global context, it is critically important for the U.S. and China to work constructively together. The other side of the effect will be a lot of negative spillovers. We had the trade tensions really complicating a lot of things. It dampens global production, which is clearly a situation now given how fragmented and globally integrated supply chains are these days. And also it puts a damper on global collaboration on R&D, which also requires multinational collaboration. And at the beginning of this year, IMF had actually cut global growth forecast from 3.7% to 3.5%, citing U.S.-China trade tension as one of the reasons. So the short answer is yes, the U.S. and China should definitely consider cooperation and more cooperation going forward. Cooperation and more better improved China-U.S. relations will be critical both on a bilateral level and for the global economy and global trade as a whole. Thank you for that question. To be clear, I don't believe we are in a decline right now. What we see is, as you said, a deceleration of economic growth in China, which is completely normal given the scale of the economy, where it is right now, and where it had been growing the past 3 decades or so. It's hard to predict exactly where we end up at the end of the year, but it is absolutely critical for public and private sector stakeholders to consider the external and internal conditions and environments and plan accordingly. I think the Chinese government is making steps to introduce some interesting fiscal adjustments and also trying to balance the monetary side. Hopefully that will introduce some dynamism into the economy and be helpful for the global trade and economy as a whole. Without a doubt, China has made tremendous progress on that front. Like you said, 800 million people lived out of poverty. That is a very impressive number. What I see from here is that China, if you look at China's growth story, it's benefited a lot from FDIs, foreign direct investment, foreign aid, and assistance of all sorts, not just on the financial side, but also on the technical side. So I think we are at a point where China should continue to work on poverty alleviation issues domestically, but also it can reciprocate internationally on 2 levels, right? On the financial side, as a net lender, China can support international development projects in the different countries abroad, both bilaterally and through multilateral institutions. And then on the technical side, the exchange of know-how, expertise, and lessons learned and best practices in development economics is critical, and China can have a critical role to play in that. I think that's a reasonable question. The Belt and Road is a global project. It's a very ambitious project and a very powerful concept that encompasses a lot of different elements and countries. What that means is based on different countries and their specific needs, Belt and Road could mean very different things, manifest itself in very different ways, and trigger different reactions across those different countries. And that's perfectly normal. Going forward, I think 2 things needs to happen. On the Chinese side, China should conduct its own cost-benefit analysis to determine the feasibility of investing in which countries and which projects. And on the other side, the recipient countries should make very prudent case-by-case decisions when it comes to Belt and Road projects, and really based on their specific development and infrastructure needs and also fiscal constraints. Something else I guess I could highlight is at the end of April, we'll have an important forum coming up in China, the Belt and Road Forum, and we want to keep an eye on, see what some of the interesting new projects and ideas and dynamism that could be introduced into this 6-year-old project. China will continue to play a critical role in international economy and global trade, and with that comes with a lot of responsibilities. China should continue to work within the multilateral system constructively with the international community, and China can contribute in other ways as well. I think innovation is a critical component of the Chinese economy right now. It will continue to be going forward. A white paper recently came out in the Greater Bay Area that's caught a lot of attention, and has some excellent ideas behind it, combining the comparative advantages of 4 and more cities than that into a cluster that will really boost economic growth, productivity, and innovation. And that actually ties into one of your early questions. It could be a great example for international development, and will be interesting to see how that plays out.